Hey, what's up guys? Bajheera here, bringing you some more 3v3 arena commentary. Today we're going to be playing as Warrior, Mage, Priest, and we're going to be facing a lot of teams that either are caster, healer, melee, or even double melee teams. Against teams like this, what you want to do is endure their initial burst. You can see how much damage the Frost Mage and the Frost Death Knight are going to put out on me right off the bat. So I'm going to disarm the Death Knight, and as my disarm wears off, I'm going to pop Retaliation. That's going to give him the choice to either continue to hit me and take tons of damage or try to switch to my Mage and, get kited around. So he decides to switch to the Mage. As a result, I follow him for a second, focus throw down their healer so that we can continue our pressure. Usually I'm going to want to switch to the Mage here as well just to limit their control, but since the Death Knight is already almost dead, I'm just going to continue to pressure this Death Knight as my Mage gets a hard counter spell on their Priest. I'm going to go ahead and pop Rex Storm, and the DK goes down before the Priest can even do anything about it. So, like I said, on teams like this, you have to be aware of the tide of battle. You have to weather their burst, and then out of their burst, you can do what you can to counter them with a disarm or retaliation or something like that, and then you can, tip the battle in your favor by putting out pressure of your own and being a little bit smarter with your CC and who you pick as your target. So, on this team, we're going to be facing WLD, which is Warrior Lock Druid. Also a very strong team. We're deciding to start right on the Warlock because we don't even want to mess around and let him get all his dots up and stuff. These guys are very good players, and you're starting to play quite good players even at low MMR. So I see all three of them bunched up, so I'm going to throw a big ol' AoE Fear off. I do catch the Druid in the Fear, and of course the Warrior Zerker rages out of it, and since I'm hitting the Warlock, he's not going to be feared very long. But that initial Fear on the Druid keeps him from getting hots up, and allows us to build a little bit of pressure onto their team. I focus charge the Druid, at which point he immediately goes into bear form. I'm thinking in anticipation of a switch. Since he's a Resto Druid, he probably gets switched to quite often, so he does not feel like getting hit hard, so he goes into bear form. I lag out a little bit there, no biggie. I get faked on my Fear, I get faked on my pummel, also not a big deal, despite how much I was telling you guys to hold on to your pummel in the last video. I still make mistakes, but it's okay. So, what we're going to do is continue to train this Warlock, and my Priest gets feared way into their starting area, and I see the Druid going over there probably to try to Cyclone him way out of position. So I try to get a hamstring on him, he shifts the hamstring, and I'm going to hit him and throw him down, so he gets thrown down in bear form, just to try to prevent CC on my Priest, because we cannot allow, our Priest to get CC'd with all this damage coming out from the Warlock and the Warrior. So we're pouring all of our damage into the Warlock at this point, and we're doing quite a good job damaging him. So the Warlock ports up, I'm going to have a really hard time getting to him at this point, so I'm just going to pop Retaliation and hit the Warrior for a second. Because switching against a Resto Druid is a really viable strategy, so you might as well do it anyway, especially if you're out of position like I was. So I'm hitting the Warrior, getting decent damage up on him. I see the Resto Druid pop Tree Form, so that's an excellent sign for us. Once the Druid pops Tree Form, guys, a switch to the Druid is a very, very viable strategy. So, once again, I get faked on my pummel for the Fear, but I'm back on the Warlock now, making this Druid, work really, really hard to keep his team alive, even through Tree Form. So, his Tree Form is down. I'm going to Rex Storm for a second, but the Warrior's good and disarms me immediately. At this point, the Druid is in a Deep Freeze inside a Ring of Frost. So the switch to him is prime right now. We switch to him, he eats a Mortal Strike, Heroic Strike, double crit, and a Shatter at the same time. So he drops really, really quickly. But switching to a healer is really, really dangerous. And you can see how low I get. If you want to switch to a healer, you must be ready to peel, and you must be ready to heal really hard. So make sure your team has all kinds of cooldowns up to keep your team alive and to get the kill on the healer. So I run over there, get a lucky pummel on his regrowth, which is immediately followed up by a deep freeze from my Mage, and me popping my Deadly Calm, Apparatus of the Kazagroth, and PvP Trinket macro. Just doing tons of damage to this guy. I charge over to him for short range, and get a big old Mortal Strike crit to finish him off. So that was a very exciting game. And although Warrior Warlock Druid isn't as strong of a comp as it used to be, just because of how weak Resto Druids are at the moment, these guys played it very well, and it can be a very scary comp in the hands of good players. Keep in mind, the way we beat this comp is switching when we had to. When I was out of position, I had to hit the Warrior. But by switching, the Resto Druid had to split hots and really reduces his healing. After Tree Form, we went on the Druid and scored the kill because we had cooldowns up and we had the Druid caught out of position. So in this next match, we're going to be facing 3 Gladiators playing Ebola Cleave. Our objective in this match is we're going to go hard on this DK, get CC on the Paladin, and coordinate our burst so that we're bursting our hardest when the Paladin is in CC. I'm going to start off by getting some debuffs on these melee targets and going hard on the DK. I pop Retaliation, which makes him switch off of me, so I focus charge, focus through the Paladin, at which point the Paladin trinkets, which makes him very susceptible to CC later in the game. The DK's AMS wears off, which makes him very susceptible to huge burst damage from my mage. He gets a bop. I'm going to focus charge, focus throw down the paladin, and as soon as the bop comes off with Mass Dispel, I'm going to heroically back and Mortal Strike, Heroic Strike that DK to death. And I know that happened kind of fast, but the reason it happened fast is because it was beautiful. So feel free to go back and watch it again. But yeah, that was really good coordination by our team and really good strategic cooldown management by our team. You know, popping retail so that they would get off of me, making him use his AMS to get on my mage. As soon as AMS came down, he had no answer except to bop, but the bop was already off with Mass Dispel, and we really, you know, had the upper hand against them just by comp anyway. So this next match is going to be up against what we call Rape Poisty Cleave. It's Ret, Frost Death Knight, and a Resto Druid. So we're going to start off by going on the Ret. I'm going to run over here behind the boxes and go ahead and try to get a root on him so that he does not give the freedom to his Death Knight. Although this probably is not the best strategy in hindsight, we find out that, you know, it's better to go on the Death Knight. But as a result of my bad play, I have to just sit here and get Cycloned and be out of the game for the entire beginning of this, like, you know, match. So I'm going to charge back in. We get a Trinket out of the Death Knight, which is fine. So I'm going to pop Rex Storm right here just to try to get some cleave damage. But I'm not realizing how bad I need to peel at this point. So we get stuck in a Hungering Cold. I Trinket the Hungering Cold, throw down the Resto Druid in Tree Form. And although we already have Tree Form out, these guys are not in it for the long haul. They do not care. They're going to pop all their cooldowns, including Bubble and Trinket right now. So although we've got a lot of cooldowns out of them, you know, Poisty is still getting dominated right now. So I'm going to try to disarm the DK, get a throwdown on the Paladin, or charge him actually. So Poisty has like 158 health at one point. I should have thrown off a Fear right here, but, you know, instead I just sit on the DK. These guys get out of position, so Poisty can get a little bit of health back, but my mistakes in the beginning of the game really cost us. I get a Fear, which lets Poisty get away, and now he's back to full health, and we are pissed off. So we're deciding to go on the Death Knight right here, because the Paladin has already bubbled, the Druid has already Tree Formed, and the only thing that they've got left is a Bop, which we can handle. There goes the Bop, it comes off, you know, we can Spell Steal it, we can Mass Dispel it, it gets Mass Dispelled. We're going to hit the DK, because now they have no cooldowns left. You know, they have Ret off healing, but getting the Ret to use his 3 Holy Power on healing, rather than, you know, huge-ass Templar's Verdicts, is fine. I throw it on the DK, he gets really low. Poisty is fine. Well, I mean, he's getting, you know, down to about half health again, but, you know, he's got some space, he's down there out of LOS, he can heal himself up, he can heal us up, so we're doing pretty well. The Druid goes into Bear Form to go over there and probably bash Poisty. This is another chance for them to get some burst off, but I'm Blade Storming, getting the DK really low, but since they have a Resto Druid healer, what we're going to do is we're going to fake them out and make a quick and hard switch to the Ret and kill these guys before they know what's going on. So Poisty gets the Druid in a Fear, and during this Fear, we're able to finish off this Ret. Focus charge the Druid, even though he's counterspelled already. He gets a full polymorph out of that charge stun, and we finish off the Ret. The reason why you want to charge Druid is because they can shift a polymorph, but if you focus charge them while your mage is casting a polymorph, that 1.5 second stun is exactly what your mage needs to get that 1.5 second polymorph cast off. So if you can coordinate that charge stun with your mage's polymorph cast, you guys are going to be able to get Druids and Sheeps, which is going to be really nice because they can't get the hots up, and Druids need hots to keep their targets alive. So I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this. I've got plenty more arena to come, and I'm really enjoying making these commentaries. So keep watching. Thank you for the support, and I will see you guys next time. Peace!